this video, we are going to create a drop-down box using the data validation feature. But first, let me explain why this is so important, particularly when you're collecting information, putting together forms. Anytime you're putting together information that you plan on analyzing later, and any data analyst would agree to this, as there's nothing worse than messy data that you have to scrub and clean up. So just to give you an example, I've created a very simple form here. It's the very important vehicle survey that we're going to send out to hundreds of people and have them return and then consolidate the results. So if we leave this with no validation in this field, they can type whatever they want in here, Toyota Camry. But wait, that's not a vehicle make. That's a vehicle make and model. Or they could spell Chevy. They could spell Chevrolet. And when you get all this information back and you have to consolidate and say, how many people have Chevys? And then you look at the data, now that's a pain in the butt. You have to scrub that. So we really want to limit what they can put in the fields wherever we can. Wherever there's a limited number of options they can choose from, you want to use that data validation, give them a drop-down box. It also makes it easier for the user. They just have to pick from a list as opposed to typing it out. So to create that drop-down box, we're going to go to the data tab and data validation, and we want it to be a list so they can choose from a list. And the source, so you can either type out your options here if it's yes, no, something like that. It may be easier to do it that way. Typically though, you want to go point to the cells where the information is held. I typically have a data validation tab where I have all my information for lists. So the most basic way is to just simply highlight the cells that the information is in and hit OK. And there we go. Now we can choose our vehicle makes. Now the one restriction on the way I just did it, let's say, okay, we want to add BMWs to this list. I go back to my survey, it's not there because my data validation, I gave it a static number of cells. So I'd have to go and add, make it 12. I'd be constantly updating it. So let's go ahead and make that dynamic based off what we already know about dynamic arrays and tables. If you've watched my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. So we have our list of vehicle makes here. I'm gonna hit Control T and go ahead and make that a table. Hit OK, get rid of that formatting. And now over next to it, I'll say vehicle make for drop-down list. And I can use our sort and unique function. So let's sort unique. I should have named that table. Well, it's table something, table 1, and it's only one column, so I should be able to just close that out. And there we go. So now I go over here. Let's change that validation, data validation. Now we want it just has to point to this cell because that's where the formula is. But then you put a little hashtag, £, whatever you want to call that. And that's going to grab the whole dynamic portion of it. So it's going to grab everything below it. So now we have all our options, but now let's go back. Let's go back and add Mercedes to the list. Since we sorted it, it puts it in alphabetical order, which is nice for the user when they're using the drop down. And there you go. You have Mercedes. Look at that. You're going to get cleaner data back. It limits what the users can pick. But while we're at it, let's go ahead and limit what they can put in age and year as well, vehicle year, because obviously we want a year in here and not some kind of text, or we don't want the year 20,000. So data validation, but now instead of limiting them to a specific list, we want a whole number between, let's go back to 1960. I recognize cars go back older than that, to 2024. You can also put an input message, please input vehicle year. And then if they enter something that's not between those two dates, try again. Please input a year between 1960 and 2024. So now if I try to say I have a car from the year 20,000, it's going to correct me and give me another shot at that. And we can do the same thing with age, 18 to 100, wherever restrictions you want to give. So there you go. Use data validation, restrict what the user can put into forms, especially when you're going to use that data to analyze or you're consolidating it later. You really want clean data in so you have better reporting going out. If you have a system, an EFS system or ERP, and you're seeing those kind of things, inconsistent data in that system, I would recommend you contact your IT administrator, whoever's kind of in charge of maintaining that system, and ask if they can put restrictions in that field. And that will save you a lot of time down the road when you're analyzing data. So I'll give you a minute to go ahead and do that.
Do it! Just do it!
All right, there we go. Hope you learned something today. I apologize in advance for the foul language because this is a topic that's very meaningful for me. So if you can't handle some bad words, and I suggest you stop the video or put your earmuffs on. This is me reminding you to take advantage of every single day. Lead your life with purpose. We have one life to live on this planet. Nobody's on their deathbed wishing that they spent more time with their head in their phone, playing Candy Crush, Clash of Clans, scrolling through Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whatever bullshit app you're wasting your time on. And I'm not getting on my high horse here because I've been there. I know what it's like. I've had those nights where I go to bed and I'm kind of ashamed of myself because I, at some point in the day, sat down, put my head in my phone. Before I know it, 2-3 hours went by. And it's like, what am I doing? There are times where I'm looking at my phone. I have to literally toss it away. I stop it, Dennis. All these apps are designed to pull you in. Those quick little dopamine hits. But let me tell you, they're not worth it. You end your day feeling like shit, don't you? You wish you spent your time doing something better. So be mindful. Be in the moment. When you're with your friends, your kids, your family, listen to them. Be with them. Have a real conversation. Play a game. Have a moment. Live your life. We get one. We get one life. Fucking make it a good one. Right? Don't be hard on yourself if you weren't the person you were in the past. You have the chance today to be a better person. So go be that better person. I plead of you. I've been there. I've had those days where I just waste an entire day doing some pointless bullshit, watching some show that I'm not even that into, sitting on my phone, just be better. You can be better. Be the best version of yourself. You're going to sleep better because you're going to go to bed thinking, I fucking crushed it today. And that's a good sleep. That's a good night's sleep. Let me tell you that. So go fucking be better.